emergency is over, and I hope that the emergency will be over soon. And Alessandra Barberis Daniela Vingiani are welcome to present their topic. Hello, Alessandra.
Hello, Olga. Yes. So we will share the presentation. Me and Daniela, we have just one presentation we will do together. I know we share the screen. Just a moment. Okay. Okay. You can
Here
see.
we are. Yeah.
Okay. So Daniela and me were reflecting about the lessons we learned during this terrible COVID crisis, and what we should keep when the emergency is over. So the focus that we will propose to you today is about online events, because of course the emergency situation gave us a big prompt to improve online events, to have the courage to start doing more things online, more than before. The colleague from Reykjavik, from the Iceland University, told us about how the COVID emergency impacted the learning strategy of his university. And of course, this is something that I think every university experienced in this period, but communication events were affected too by the crisis. So I will go one step back before the emergency. What we knew, when I say we, I mean we communicators, what we knew before the emergency about in-presence events. We were sure about a few things. For example, that different events need different publics, or refer to different publics. Some examples: the academic year opening, the academic year inauguration is a big event for every university, and the stakeholders, the public of this event, are teaching and administrative staff, so internal public, representatives of other universities, institutional representatives, media. So it's we can say that this is perhaps the biggest institutional event in the year, and it's a sort of all public event. So it is really for many targets are involved in this ceremony. But another typical university event is are the open days. The open days when you show to the prospective students, so you show your services, your courses, programs, and things like that. Of course, in the public of the open days are prospective students, but families too, because in Italy there is, maybe in Norway or in Reykjavik not, but in Italy there is still there are still families that accompanies young people to learn about university, and open days were always open to young people, but to fathers and mothers, and sometimes to grandmothers and grandfathers too, and to media, of course, because it's when prospective students visit open universities. In Rome we have 4 big public universities and more than 200,000 students. So it's of course it is an important day for the city, and normally we have televisions and newspapers that come to us to report about that event. Of course, we have lectures. Lectures are for professors and students, so for academic targets. We have congress, workshop, exhibitions. They can be for teaching and or for administrative staff. Sometimes administrative staff is involved in this kind of events. Students and outside guests, external guests. So these were the publics of the events before COVID. And we were sure about another thing, that each event needs its appropriate place. This is something that we all communicators always shared, but it was not always so easy to make it understand to our academic bosses, so to say. Of course, we communicators were always afraid of an empty lecture hall. And we were sure that a small classroom full of people was always better than an empty lecture hall. Okay, so when you were projecting a communication, an event that is a communication event, you were already the first thought was which should be the ideal size of this event, and we were very happy when a lecture hall or a classroom was full of people staying together, not 1 meter of distance among between one person and the other person, but really, if possible, a lot of people sitting and more people standing. Like, for example, in this ceremony in our big lecture hall, Aula Magna, you can see the man in the middle. This man with white hair is our Italian president, Sergio Mattarella, and he's often a very appreciated guest by us. And of course, when Sergio Mattarella comes to us, you have a full lecture hall and people stay, as you see. So this was something that was a truth for communicators, okay? And we knew that different events needed different, or were good for different communication tools. For example, you can use for some kind of events, to disseminate some kind of events, a press conference, that is a very, very dangerous communication tool. So you use press conference only when you have good material to propose to journalists, because press conference can be empty, and this is a problem for communicators, of course. You can use a press release, you can use your own medias, for example, the website, the direct mailing, the university newsletter, and the very powerful social media. So, size, public, what kind of communication tools? We knew everything about that before COVID. What happens with COVID? Of course, the emergency forced events, and we could no more organize in-presence events. A typical event for Sapienza was the Anami spring in our botanical garden. Sapienza has a very beautiful and ancient botanical garden founded by the Queen of Sweden, Christina, in the 17th century, at the end of the 17th century. And I hope that you will soon be able to come to Rome if you never saw the botanical garden of Rome. And you will be able to visit Rome and to visit our university and to visit the botanical garden. But in any case, a very appreciated event is the Hanami in the month of March, when the Japanese trees are flowering with their beautiful pink flowers. And so this year, of course, Hanami was totally affected by COVID. And the Botanical Garden had to organize very fast digital edition of the Anami Spring event. Everything was organized very well, so the public was able to visit the Botanical Garden and to take some fresh air online. And it was beautiful because in that period a lot of cultural institutions were offering cultural spaces for people that were staying home and were boring and didn't have any beautiful things to see, any beautiful place to visit. So the university, Sapienza University, contributed to this moment, to this difficult period, offering this virtual tour to our botanical garden. But in June, we were able to organize another beautiful event in Botanical Garden, which is the Living Chapel. The Living Chapel is a sort of big garden art installation, which declines sustainability items, energy, green, trees, and music. And the Living Chapel in June 2020 was a blended event. You could visit it in presence, of course you had to reserve, or visit it during a sort of virtual tour. And it was very appreciated not only by the public but by the media too. We had a lot of articles in the Roman newspapers. So Daniela, would you start now or by the next slide?
Now, thank you.
Okay, so I leave the floor to Daniela, and I hope to see you very soon in presence in Rome or in someone else in a beautiful European capital. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandra. I'll share my screen now, okay? So if you want, you can deactivate it. Okay. So, as Alessandra was saying, the sudden emergency forced all of us to become experts of online events very quickly. And of course, we didn't do everything right. And this is essentially what we've learned so far about online events. Live streaming is not necessarily the best option. So sometimes it is better a well-shaped recorded content than a boring live with mistakes. Or even better, a blended format with pre-recorded material mixed up with live presentations and possibly some video material also. Also using different technical tools can be very, very useful. Also, the duration should be much shorter than a traditional event. And this is true for every kind of online event, including lectures. Otherwise, we risk to become boring and to lose people's attention very quickly. Also, it's important to concentrate similar contents in a single day event. This is particularly true for the digital edition of our open days. I will tell you about that in a moment. So, as case studies, we wish to propose two events in particular that provided the great learning opportunities for us. The first case study is about the Open Days, the digital edition of our Open Days, Porte Aperte alla Sapienza. As Alessandra was saying earlier, this is our yearly 3 days orientation event, the main orientation event of the year, which welcomes about 10,000 new students, prospective students in the main campus. Students have the chance to attend the conferences, to learn about the courses and programs in detail, get pamphlets and enroll for the admission tests. Of course, the 2020 edition, due to the COVID crisis, was a digital one. So the conferences were live streamed and the stands were virtualized. I will tell you some weaknesses and strengths about this experience, because some of what we did was very good and something else less good. So we did some mistakes, of course. In particular, we registered low visualization rates for the live streaming. And maybe because the conferences were too long. So we used exactly the same format for the conferences inside our Aula Magna. And this was a mistake. So the duration should, a shorter duration should have been applied, and maybe also a different format, not the traditional one. It was not didn't really fit for the online version of the event. Also, we had more public in the first day, because of course students didn't come to us here in the university, but they stayed home. So it made little or no sense in offering different contents on different days. But there were also some good aspects, so some strengths. For example, that the live streaming was disseminated through Facebook, which is our most followed social media platform. So we did not distribute the conferences, the streaming only through YouTube, but also through Facebook. And also the conferences were published and made available after the event was over on this web page dedicated to the event. Okay, so you can see on the left, this is a picture from one of the conferences of the traditional, of one of the previous editions of the traditional Open Day. This is our Aula Magna, as you can see, full of people, full of students. And on the right, you can see the flyer of the 2020 digital edition of Porte Aperte alla Sapienza. Okay, so this is the second case study that I wish to propose to you. It's about the Forum PA. Forum PA is a yearly exhibition of the most important Italian public administrations and companies, which usually work in partnership with the public administration. So we usually, as a Sapienza University, we usually participate with a stand and with one or more thematic workshops. This year, the event was digitalized and revolved around the theme restarting the country after the COVID-19 emergency. So we organized a 1-hour online talk selecting very current topics. The topics of the workshop were about online lectures during the emergency and artificial intelligence. The format we used was very, very interesting because we alternated live and pre-recorded contents, and we also included a video content. So the workshop was very light and very easy to follow for the public. And also in this case, online contents were made available even after the live event. The number of participants was quite high, considering the context. We had 274 participants, which is a quite high number because this exhibition is aimed to people who work in the field, not to the general public. So that considered the number of participants was quite high. So we considered it to be a small success for us. I would say that the crisis has also been an opportunity to learn new things about online communication, and we believe that some of those things should be maintained even after the emergency is over. Of course, should you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them at the end of the session. Thank you very much for your attention.